if everything was equal, as in like if all the awards were available in the 60s and every player was starting from scratch and everything was available, then Bill Russell would probably be the GOAT. But
Among
like
other
I said,
things.
you'd also have to say if every player existed at the same time, then Bill Russell wouldn't be a top 30.
What the hell?
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to GOAT James Kingdom. On this episode, we're going to tackle the issues that Michael Jordan fans seem to have with Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and the 60s. Let's listen.
I mean, here's the thing. I think it's a lot different from having a conversation of who dominated their area. And that's a fair conversation to have when you're ranking. But I think that also, if you're just looking at players, like especially if you're looking at them now, even with the advancements and stuff like that, I think that Bill probably wouldn't even start on most teams.
You hear what you're saying out loud?
And that's not taking anything away from what he did. But if you're just saying pound for pound, who can play in any era, who was the best player, then get Bill out of there, dude. Like, there's no freaking way he's going to be the GOAT if you're just talking about, here's all my cards on the table. But I think Bill...
Even Wilt
exactly the way he needed to. That's what I'll say.
What I want to say is we need to like kind of throw out this narrative about the competition of that era because there were only 8 to 10 teams. If there was only 8 to 10 teams in the 90s, it will be an amazing era because all the players will be playing versus each other.
And we don't think Michael Jordan fans understand this. Imagine taking all these guards, all these forwards, and all the top 100 players that are in the NBA today, including these big men, and put them all on just 8 teams. That's how great the 60s was.
Yeah, saying that because it's only 8 to 10, like, do you even know how sports work? If the best players are on 8 to 10 teams instead of 30, it would be a lot different. It would be a totally different game.
Were they that great? How many players was actually great at that time?
And here is another notion by Michael Jordan fans that need to be debunked. This idea that there was no competition. If we look at the 1963 season, you can see here there are a good 4 to 5 centers in the NBA at this point in time. Also, at this point in time, Bill Russell had already won 5 championships. He would win his 6th in 1963. But as you can see, there are 5 good centers that are actually in the Hall of Fame. Can you point to a period in NBA history where half of the centers were elite, like the 60s? And if we go to the guards or the backcourt of the 60s, you can see here how many elite backcourt players there were in the 60s. About 50% of the league's backcourt were elite backcourts. You can't get that in any era, maybe in today's era, but definitely the 60s had it. And if we go to the overall play of the 60s, these are the top 20 scorers of 1963. And as you can see, there are different positions who played on different teams, and these are all elite players. And that's why the 60s were tough, because they had so many great players playing at that time.
I do think we need to throw out this conversation about Wilt played in like a easier, and
I don't hold
Wilt
that
played in like
against
an easier
players,
era.
honestly.
Like that's we can't really say that. So